This week, South Korea celebrated the 77th anniversary of the founding of its armed forces. For more on this, we invite our defense correspondent Kim Bo-kyung into the studio. Welcome, Bo-kyung.
Thank you for having me.
To start us off, can you give us an overview of the event, where it took place, and what kinds of events or performances were showcased?
Right. So first of all, this was the very first Armed Forces Day celebrated under Lee Jae-myung administration. Marking the 77th anniversary of the founding of South Korea's armed forces, this year's event took place at the military headquarters at Gyeryongdae, Chungcheongnam province. Under the theme on advanced armed forces together with the people, fewer than 1,000 service members participated in the ceremony along with a display of about 100 pieces of equipment. President Lee entered the reviewing stand with 7 people's representatives and exemplary service members, and he awarded medals and citations to personnel and units after the military review. A notable part of the ceremony was a joint civilian-military taekwondo demonstration showing how the ceremony underlined being with people, which was followed by a flypast of rotary and fixed-wing aircraft formations, along with the Air Force's Black Eagles aerobatic team carrying out advanced maneuvers. Take a listen to what participants of the ceremony had to say.
It was an honor to be able to perform in front of the soldiers who protect our country, and it allowed me to feel an even deeper sense of patriotism.
It is an honor to take part in the 77th Armed Forces Day. As a future combat capabilities unit, we will serve with dedication to ensure our people's safety.
So as I mentioned previously, the ceremony was noticeably scaled down compared to the previous one. So just how much smaller was this year's?
Right, it was very much smaller in size compared to previous ones. For the 1.5-hour event, fewer than 1,000 personnel took part, just 1/5 the size of last year's that involved around 5,000. Around 100 pieces of equipment, including K2 tanks, Cheonmu multiple rocket systems, were on display. South Korea's domestically developed bunker buster missile, the Hyunmoo-5, and multi-purpose stealth drone were also showcased. But this again was significantly smaller than last year's total numbers of equipment, which was over 300. Even the budget for this year's event was just about a third of last year's 7.2 billion Korean won, according to the Armed Forces Day planning team. The most noticeable difference was the absence of a city parade. Under the Yoon administration, a parade was held in central Seoul for 2 consecutive years in 2023 and 2024, and the day was even designated as a temporary public holiday last year. Considering the fact that the parade is usually held once every 5 years and none took place under the Moon Jae-in administration, the Yoon government's decision was indeed quite rare. But the fact that this year's did not have the city parade made it look much more downscaled. One expert said, however, that this was natural, given it was the first Armed Forces Day ceremony following former ousted President Yoon Suk-yeol's botched imposition of martial law, and that despite the smaller scale, the president's message was quite strong and clear.
He emphasized on the not just scale or new weapon system, but rather focusing on the its message, especially to the world and to domestic audience, on how Rock Army became the more independent forces and global stage forces capability based on the its K defense industry, also open transfer plan, and definitely as well as Rock-US alliance system.
Right, so before we wrap up, let's touch on some of the comments that were made by the defense minister at a recent press briefing. So what were some things that were said?
Right, so Defense Chief An Kyu-baek held talks with Defense Ministry reporters this week, and there he shared his thoughts on a variety of issues. Regarding the transfer of wartime operational control, he said the process is going on systematically, stably, and proactively, and that South Korea and the U.S. will continue consulting to secure the necessary capabilities as soon as possible to complete the verification. There were also some questions on the possibility of a U.S. Forces Korea withdrawal, to which he replied that there has been no discussion whatsoever over the forces withdrawal nor a reduction, and that Washington fully shares the view with Seoul that a stable USFK stationing was important for peace on the Korean Peninsula. When it comes to the September 19th military agreement, the minister said restoring this should be done through dialogue, and that the South Korean military would not unilaterally halt its exercises.
All right, thank you, Bo-kyung, for coming in today.
Thank you.